The revival of the Klan in the 1920s was largely due to the efforts of William Simmons, who was a former preacher. He hired publicists to soften the image of the Klan and to boost recruitment. He capitalized on anti-German sentiment after World War I and stoked fear about other immigrants and minorities, including Jews, Seventh-day Adventists, and Catholics. Klansmen especially hated Catholics and spread the idea that Catholics were the Pope's army, seeking to overthrow American democratic institutions. And so they really disdained the Knights of Columbus because of our strong opposition to the Klan's racial and religious bigotry. We worked to expose the identity of Klan members and fought legal battles to oppose their anti-Catholic legislative efforts. The compulsory education law in Oregon sought to mandate that all children between the ages of 10 and 16 attend public school. The intent of the law was to deprive parents of the right to send their children to Catholic schools. The Klan saw the law as a way to eliminate Catholic education. That's why they put their political muscle behind it in Oregon. And that's why the Knights of Columbus and other Catholic groups opposed it. The passage of the Compulsory Education Act was a major political victory for the Klan, and it emboldened their members across the country. In the 1920s, America's public schools were effectively Protestant in their curriculum and really in their entire ethos. The network of Catholic schools across America was so important because it gave Catholic parents a way to educate their children in accord with their faith. The Klan recognized that Catholic education was essential for Catholics to preserve their religious identity. And so that's really why the Klan targeted Catholic schools. At the time, the Supreme Knight of the Knights of Columbus was James Flaherty, and he correctly predicted that the Klan's efforts in Oregon would begin a national movement to abolish Catholic schools. And sure enough, this first legislative success in Oregon paved the way for similar legislation in other states. The Knights of Columbus was founded in 1882 by Father Michael McGivney, a Catholic parish priest in New Haven, Connecticut. His intention was to create an organization for Catholic men that would be an alternative to the secret societies of the day. These groups promised men upward mobility, but in many cases required them to effectively renounce their Catholic faith. So Father McGivney set out to create an alternative for Catholic men, a new fraternal organization grounded in unity and charity. Many of the early Knights were veterans of the Civil War, and they proclaimed in both word and deed that Catholics could at the same time be true to their faith and also loyal Americans. So there's a deep irony here. The Knights were the focus of the Klan's false accusations of anti-Americanism, but despite those efforts, membership in the Knights of Columbus really grew at the time, in part because of our vocal opposition to the Klan. When the Knights heard the plea for help coming from the Society of Sisters and the local archbishop, they donated $25,000, a great deal of money at the time, to challenge the law in court. Eventually, the case went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, where the sisters were victorious. But it wasn't just the Knights and other Catholics. It was Episcopalians, Seventh-day Adventists, Jews, and others who also filed legal briefs supporting the sisters. So it really was an interreligious effort, which was quite remarkable for the time. A 100 years has passed since Pierce versus Society of Sisters, and I think the ultimate takeaway then and now is that parents are the primary educators of their children, and they have the right to educate their children consistent with their faith. In his unanimous opinion, Justice James McReynolds said that the child is not, quote, a mere creature of the state. His opinion found that the Oregon legislation interfered with the rights of parents to direct the upbringing and education of their children. This right, and the right to a Catholic education, is something the Knights of Columbus stood up for then, and we continue to do so today.